Welcome back to Coast Vue. I really enjoyed that conversation, as I do every single week, with Jeff Duncan from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, what he brings to the table just in the sports arena with all the changes, especially with the Saints and the challenges of the Pelicans and what they're going to do with that team and all. It's in building a winning culture. It's great to have this opportunity on a weekly basis to check in with my friend Jeff. And as we said before, Jeff's been looking for a house over in the Hancock County area, and hopefully he'll be a Mississippian soon, even though he'll still be working in New Orleans. But he loves the Bay St. Louis area, just as my friend Josh Morgan from L.A., who's the hurricane chaser, the top chaser in the world, I might add. He's looking literally as we speak at a house in Bay St. Louis and may actually buy there before it's over with. So be interesting to see how that turns out. But speaking of Hancock County, I have my friend Tish Williams, the executive director for the Hancock County Chamber. Miss Hancock County. If I had a pageant today, you'd win the pageant. It would be Miss Hancock County.
Thank you.
you were how you doing, my friend Tish?
Well, I actually, a little bit of history. I lost the Miss Bay St. Louis pageant to Kathleen Koch.
Did you really? Kathleen Koch, of all people. That's great. Formerly with CNN, and she's an author. Wrote a lot about Katrina afterwards. That's interesting. And we have a guest with us sitting with you. Introduce Mark to us.
This is Mark Glorioso. He's the chairman of Partners for Stennis and Michoud, and we're actually in Jackson at the Capitol right now for NASA Capitol Day, something we haven't been able to do for a couple of years now. And so we really are excited to be able to connect with all of our friends at Stennis and also here in the Mississippi Legislature.
Mark, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you joining us. And we're going to, as I mentioned to you out the air, we're going to schedule a time for you and I just to visit in general about the Partners in Stennis and Michoud organization that you're the chairman of. But I really appreciate you joining us. So tell me, because the sound's a little bit off, and the radio audience knows that, but the reason why is they're literally sitting in the rotunda of the Capitol as we speak. Are you guys upstairs, Mark? Is that where you are?
We're on the second floor.
Yeah. Right. I spent a lot of time there. The Sun Herald had an office there, right there in the state capitol, the whole time that I was publisher, and so I spent a lot of time up there. I felt like that was a way to sort of hear what's going on. You got to go there. You can't just read about it. Sometimes it makes a big difference to sit and talk to your legislators, doesn't it, Tish?
It does, and they've been working on, some really important legislation that affect so many, the teacher pay raise, the state income tax, proposed state income tax cut, I guess you could say. So there's a lot going on. We're here actually with NASA to talk about the growth at Stennis Space Center and how we can be advocates for the continued growth of Stennis Space Center. We have Dr. Rick Gilbrecht with us and his entire management team. So it's been a great 2 days. We were like, hey, wait a minute, guys. Didn't y'all realize it was Mardi Gras Day yesterday and we're on our way to Jackson? We were going in the wrong direction. But we had a good time. We were able to spend some time with our Hancock County delegation last night. So we got some good information and feedback from them.
Hey, Mark, as I mentioned, we're going to spend a whole show together and just talk a lot about your organization. But in a nutshell, when someone asks about the Partners for Stennis and Michoud, what do you say to them?
We advocate for the economic growth of the Stennis Space Center and the Michoud Assembly Facility Plant in Louisiana. And to do that, we spend time with the legislatures. We spend time with the governor. We spend time with the House and the Senate up in D.C., trying to show the value to the entire state. The governor recently even said that he would like to see Stennis Space Center become the Huntsville, Alabama of the South. And our job is to pull together all the folks in the right direction to see how we can make that happen as soon as possible.
Well, look, I spent time in Alabama. I was president of Alabama Media Group and was publisher in Mobile, had responsibilities for Birmingham and Huntsville and AL.com. And Huntsville, I spent a lot of time in Huntsville. What an amazing story that is. But there is absolutely no reason in this world Stennis can't become that. I mean, Stennis in some ways is already that, and more so when you think about what's happening at Stennis. But the visionaries that were involved in creating this buffer zone, looking back on that, it's incredible that they had this vision and they actually pulled it off. And I've often referred to Stennis as sort of one of the bookends here in coastal Mississippi, with Ingalls being the other, and then all this incredible economic development and hospitality and wonderful, quality of life that happens between the two. We all work together in this sort of complex economic jigsaw puzzle that makes coastal Mississippi so successful. And believe me, when you say that we're the economic engine for the state of Mississippi, they understand that, don't they? I mean, Mark, they truly appreciate the role that coastal Mississippi plays in making Mississippi successful, don't they?
Yes, and very few people understand that we have a direct global impact of over $1 billion. And we have the Navy as a tenant. NASA is there as the owner and landlord. We have the Department of Commerce. We do about $40 million a year in construction of new facilities. And there are other tenants out there to the tune of $270 million. It's a federal city. It's a unique federal city, and we want to continue to cultivate that and grow it in a way that does make it the crown jewel economic engine of South Mississippi.
So, Tish, as y'all visit Jackson, I love the fact that you're in Jackson, because that makes the rubber's hitting the road as it relates to your role as a chamber executive. And you have to sit down with people. You said you had a great dinner last night. What I've said about this particular session is that it's one of the most consequential sessions that we've had since the special session that occurred after Hurricane Katrina. For a lot of reasons, that was a really important time in our history. But you think about the state is sitting on over $1 billion, a lot of one-time money that's going to be spent for various projects. As you pointed out, there are a lot of different points of view about the income tax situation. Of course, you mentioned the teachers' pay raise, but we've got the referendum bill that we need to bring, give the control of establishing referendums or creating referendums back to the people. The list, if you look at the list of bills these guys have had to say grace over, it's unbelievably long. So you have to be there. You have to, it's not so much the squeaky wheel gets the attention, although that's true. It's this opportunity to get their attention and remind them in the midst of all these competing objectives, don't lose sight on where the economic engine is. And this is really important to you guys, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And we've got folks from Lockheed Martin here, from Aerojet Rocketdyne. We've got some of the tenants and corporate tenants here with us. So it's really been a great day. And on top of that, we've got probably a couple hundred women from the Mississippi Republican Women's Group. It's their Capitol Day today, and we'll be having lunch with Lynn Fitch at noon. So we're looking forward to hearing from her as well.
Well, that's really good. Hey, when we come back, we're not done with this session yet, but when we come back on the other side, I want to get just a quick chamber update from you, beyond your Capitol Day. And
Okay.
I also want to talk a little bit about Lunigrawl and how that all turned out for you guys. But, it's a nice, pretty day in the Capitol. What do you find the mood to be up there?
Tense.
Tense? Tired?
Yeah, they're struggling with a few bills right now. It's a little tense, but there's also a lot of optimism. I see that from most of the people we talked to last night, from MDA, from the representatives. Phil Moran was at dinner with us. There's a lot of optimism about the whole state, and especially Stennis Space Center.
And they're trying to get things done. So, they're fighting deadlines and so on. So it's a good time to be up here.
It's amazing when you think about how, relatively short the legislative session is. And in the beginning of the session, there's just a lot of work filing the bills and getting the bills written and all of that. And then you have to get to this point where you're dealing with appropriations and understanding what the impact on the budget is going to be. At the same time, they're having to review bills and work together, the Senate and the House, around the state's budget and how it's going to, be impacted by new bills that have been introduced and passed. It's a complicated, really complicated time. And as Jeremy England, the senator from over in Jackson County, pointed out the other day, I mean, it's not unusual for these guys to still be out at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it's just a really, really intense time. So the fact that you were able to get the majority, if not all, your delegation to dinner and have a fruitful conversation, just specific as it related to Hancock County, is important. And hopefully anything that's important to you relative to the legislature, that they're not losing sight of it. Any comment, any more about what you're doing in Jackson these days?
Well, I just want to point out that, as you said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing, but it's also a little bit of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. We happen to be on the up in the House of Representatives in the gallery, and we were introduced, and NASA management was introduced, and it really brings home a point that they're glad we're here, and we are spreading a good message.
You are spreading a good message. I mean, it's not just important to coastal Mississippi. It's not just important to Mississippi. It's important to the entire United States, what you're doing. And we will certainly not lose sight of it here on the Coast Vue. Hey, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Tish Williams and Mark Glorioso, who is the chairman of the partners of Stennis and Michoud. We'll see you after this break. Well, back to Coast Vue. I have Tish Williams from the Hancock County Chamber and Mark Glorioso, who's the chairman of the partners for Stennis and Michoud. And I mentioned to them while we were during the break that it's sort of like they're running a marathon. They're in Jackson right now, and they're kind of talking to us while they're running. And it's a little bit, in the midst of the action, the rubber's hitting the road in Jackson, and that's fun to connect with people who are up in Jackson, bringing attention back to coastal Mississippi. In this case, the work that's happening at Stennis, so many different stakeholders. It's amazing. I can't wait to have a show with Mark to talk more about, what in the world is happening these days there. It's incredible. It's a great story. Tish, real quick, just in general at the Chamber, how you guys doing?
Well, we're doing great. We're anticipating moving into our new office. It'll probably be in May when we move to the historic City Hall. We've worked out an agreement with the City of Bay St. Louis for us to manage that building as our office and also as a public use space. And they're renovating the building right now, so we're going to have a whole new, look to the building. We've got the tennis courts are being repaired, as well as the shoe fly. So it's going to really be a wonderful historic structure to bring back to life for the citizens.
Yeah. It's exciting for you, though. Really, I know. I mean, you hate to have to do change. I mean, everybody does, because you had a kind of good situation where you were. But the reason you're moving is because it's progress, and that's an important thing to bring. And the fact that you're landing where you're landing, that's awesome. Congratulations on finding a good landing spot. So tell me about Lunigrawl.
Mardi Gras was so much fun. Everybody was just so ready to get back to this favorite, event that we have every year. And, it started out with the Near Eads Parade. I think it was the most well-attended parade that we've had really in the history of Near Eads. And then we went to Lunigrawl. On Monday, the crew of the Mystic Seahorse, they had their golf cart parade in downtown Bay St. Louis, and I lost count of how many golf carts were in this parade. And they were fully decorated. Everybody's in costume, and they had some of the best throws that you'll find anywhere. And then there were all these house parties. I walked up and down Main Street just to see everything that was going on, and it was wall-to-wall people just having a great time, a family outing. And then on Mardi Gras Day, when we had to head to Jackson, I really hated to miss another favorite parade, which is the Crew of the Real People, because I finally found the spot where you need to go watch that parade. And my mother and I had watched that parade for years and didn't realize that we needed to be on Sycamore Street, because that's where all the action is.
Yeah, you sound like my wife Ann, who her and her sister Lisa found this really cool spot for the Biloxi Day Parade. and they go there every year, and this year they went again, and a lot of other people discovered the spot. It was a little bit tight, but it's all, they've gotten so much ownership over this site. It's almost like, I can't believe somebody's in my place. This is my place, but it's public property. But I think everybody who has their little special spot to where to watch a Mardi Gras participate, they feel that same way. And that's the cool thing about it, man. So many people involved. And I remember going to Mardi Gras parades back when I was in my teens in Hancock County. It's always been a rich tradition of Mardi Gras in Hancock County, hasn't there?
Yeah, because so many people really were from New Orleans originally, right? And then they moved over, and they brought these traditions with them to the Bay Area. And then it's interesting because many of them go back to New Orleans, and they're participating in the parades and the cruise over in New Orleans. So it's just a great share of history and tradition and culture.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mark, coming over to you. Are you active in Mardi Gras yourself?
Well, not as certainly as active as Tish, but we do love a good Mardi Gras parade. We go to the Picayune Mardi Gras parade when we start, and then this year, of course, we had to come up here to the Capitol Day, so we missed our favorite parades. But that's okay. We'll catch them next year.
That's good. Hey, just in general, Tish, what's the mood in Hancock County these days? I bet it's very positive.
Very positive, very upbeat, and I think Mardi Gras kicks off just a whole year of nothing but activities and festivals and events. We've got things going on throughout Hancock County. Diamond Head has a great little farmers market that they do on the weekend. You've got the Waveland Food Truck Friday. We've got St. Patrick's Day Parade coming up in Waveland. There's going to be all kinds of events, and really the best place to go to look for these events is the Shoe Fly magazine. Just go online to the Shoe Fly magazine, and you'll see everything that we have going on beyond Second Saturday, which you can count on every month.
So exciting. Always it's exciting to touch base with you. But listen, we're out of time, but this has been Tish Williams, and someone who I look forward to having a conversation with really soon, Mark Glorioso. Had to kind of retrain myself on how to say his last name, but he's the chairman of partners for Stennis and Michoud, and I'll have Cammie reach out to you, Mark, and we'll get something scheduled, and we'll talk more about your organization. But thank you guys for joining us from the Capitol today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning.